Reviewers of the latest Narnia film, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, have all agreed that the standout performance is from newcomer Will Poulter, 17-year-old British actor who plays the part of Cousin Eustace. Poulter got his first break on E4's TV sketch show School of Comedy, in which adolescents take on the role of adult characters, including a dodgy estate agent, a foul-mouthed white van driver and a Polish plumber. The TV programme was born out of an after-school comedy club in West London, which Will Poulter joined as a 12-year-old. The club, which is now open to children from the ages of 8 to 18, is run by 2 drama teachers who are hoping to expand the idea nationwide. I went to meet them and their pupils after the end-of-term show.
Hello, I'm Rachel and I'm 9 years old.
Now, you did a sketch where you pretend to be the Home Secretary, Theresa May. Did you know who Theresa May was beforehand?
No, actually I didn't at first. I hadn't even heard of her.
I just think it gives you so many, ideas of how to be a comedian. It's so fun.
I'm kind of, showing that Michelle Obama's, she's good, but we're kind of making fun of her new sport thing. I'm Michelle LaVaughn Robinson Obama, and sure, I'm First Lady of the United States, a busy mom and a hot wife.
The School of Comedy was set up 5 years ago by a drama teacher inspired by the film Bugsy Malone. She decided to take a group of pupils to the Edinburgh Festival, where they were spotted by a TV executive and have now produced 2 series. Some of the material is written by the pupils themselves, the rest by comedy writer Barunka O'Shaughnessy. I spoke to her, drama teacher Tara Carr, and the school's creator, Laura Lawson.
I just think they feel so liberated when they're sort of empowered to take the mick out of adults, if they're given that freedom to say, right, go out there, show us any adult out there that makes them laugh the way they see them through their eyes, and then they're allowed to show us that.
Right, now we're going to try the most hallowed of Van Men techniques, the lucky shout. You see a bird with an inanimate object and you comment on how lucky that said object is, right?
I don't get it.
Well, I'll demonstrate, okay? Okay, you see a woman on a bike, right? And you shout, "Lucky saddle! Oi, yes!" Get it?
Tara, how does it work in your classes? I mean, do you give them material or do they write their own stuff?
Bits of both. We have material from Barunka that she'll come in and watch them workshop sketches, and she'll write sketches up. She'll write sketches for them and they will create their own sketches from ideas we'll give them.
If it's a bad sketch, you can just say it's a bad sketch, and then Laura or Tara will say, okay, I admit it's quite bad, let's have a new one. Because some of them they won't go with kids, they might go with adults, but maybe not kids.
So today they've been doing date sketches. They were going on dates.
And how old are these kids?
8.
It's hard to stop them being really filthy, though, sometimes, isn't it? They're depraved minds. It's quite disturbing.
Well, I was going to put that to you, actually, because I think it says somewhere on some of your material, grown-up comedy sketches with no boundaries. What do you mean by that? I think you wrote that, Laura, didn't you?
Yes.
I wrote it. And I mean it. I do mean it. They've got no boundaries in the sense that if they want to do a sketch where they depict a blind date, for example, and they want to... Their chat-up line is, "Oh, nice to see you, thank you very much," and then, "Did it hurt when you fell from heaven because you look like an angel?" These are their bad chat-up lines. And then the last line they came up with today was... "I like your boobs." But, usually you go, "Oh, no, you can't say boobs, you're 8 years old," and it's derogatory. But they love it, and it makes everyone laugh. And they've probably heard someone else say it to someone else, so why shouldn't they be allowed to say it? There are no boundaries in that sense.
But what about the ethics of it? I mean, do you ever worry that the parents are going to complain, or that maybe that you're making these children a little bit more worldly than they would be otherwise?
The thing is, we have always had total and utter supportive parents. And actually, one parent said to us recently, she said, "Oh, gosh, the reason our children love this club so much is because it's not about parents pushing children to do something after school. It's about children saying, this is where we want to go, this is where we feel we belong, and can we do it again and again?" And they said, as a parent, that's such a lovely thing to hear from your child.
Can you tell me when you first started thinking that you liked comedy? What was the first thing that you saw and you thought, gosh, I'd quite like to do that?
Sure, it was either Mr. Bean or Monty Python.
You're a Monty Python fan, are you?
I love Monty Python.
Rob Brydon, hard to say, lots of them.
Do you think this generation who have grown up, and I know this from my own kids, grown up watching comedy sketches on YouTube and far more savvy about comedy perhaps than, kids would have been even just sort of, 10 years ago, pre-YouTube.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're so open to such a vast range of, like, even archive, going back sort of, decades of comedy history as well as sort of contemporary stuff. And yeah, there's so much out there, and it's quite hard competing with that, actually, with scripted material, certainly, because usually the funniest stuff is, people just falling off things and hurting themselves. I mean, you can't really compare with that, can you? They're the best and the easiest and the cheapest laughs. So yeah, it's tough. I think they're a tougher crowd, basically, younger generations.
I don't know, all the sketch shows. My first ones I remember was Little Britain. I was obsessed with that when it first came out. I guess that's an inspiration. Michael McIntyre's amazing. Peep Show, awesome.
For us, it's a real treat because we're getting children with really open minds.
I think the best thing about it, though, like just watching you run the clubs, and I think the thing where the best material comes from as well is the improvisational games, or theatre games, whatever you kind of call them, and they're the sort of standard classic things you do when you're devising any kind of comedy, really. But that's the fun part, I reckon.
Sitting in the audience at the school's end-of-term show in a small theatre above a pub in West London were several of its well-known alumni, cheering on the next generation of young comics.
I'm Beth Rylance and I'm 19.
What's your favourite sketch?
I'd probably have to say the Saffers that I do with Will, which is like these two South African security guards who sit and do absolutely nothing all day, and basically all the sketches of them just talking nonsense.
How's it?
No fine, how's it?
Oh, no fine, that wurst looks lekker, eh?
Ah, lekker.
I can't wait, man.
I'm going to turn it out.
No, don't turn it, it's too soon, eh?
It's not too soon.
It's too soon.
I'm going to turn it out.
Did you guys come up with that idea or those accents, or was that written for you?
We actually came up with the idea. Will could always do a South African accent, and then I picked up on it, and it just began that we would kind of talk to each other in a jokey way in those accents, and then it developed, and Barunka overheard us talking like that and went, "What are those accents that you're doing?" I went, "Oh, actually, they're South African," and then Barunka wrote it down, and it kind of magically appeared in a script, and that was where it came from, really.
We interviewed the comedian Simon Amstel here on Front Row recently, and he talked about this life-changing moment when he was sort of 12 or 13. Because he was so shy, his parents sent him to a sort of Saturday drama club, and the moment he first realised that he could make an audience laugh, he said, was a turning point in his life. I mean, have you had kids come to the comedy club who've been sent by their parents because they're shy?
Yes, I think that's definitely what's emerging the past few years. Parents have said to us, we cannot thank you enough for what you've done for our child. Before they started School of Comedy, they were incredibly shy and they struggled a bit at school and they struggled with their peers, and they come here and they have just grown in confidence.
I still am really nervous getting on stage, but it definitely was a thing at the start, being very nervous and getting over that, but yeah, it's just, I guess it's helped, yeah.
Before, when I started off and it was my first time doing the class, and then she said, "You're really good. Why don't you do this club?" So then I thought, oh yeah, I'd love to do that. So my parents came home and they brought it in, and then I started doing this, and I just enjoy it, every second of it. It's so fun.
The opening scene, I was very much stressing out backstage. I was really stressing out and I was getting very worried, but it was fine once you go out. It's kind of all the lights just block the audience.
Now, you've been going for 5 years and you've already produced your first movie star.
Yes, Will Poulter. He was 10 when I met him, tiny little 10-year-old, and already incredibly talented. He just had that thing, that magic you see. And I was teaching him at school, and then I started these after-school clubs, and he was too young to star in the original cast. So I'll never forget him saying, "Oh, when I reach 12, may I possibly join?" And I said, "Of course you can join." Anyway, he reached 12, he joined, and he found his feet, and he became incredibly confident, and he was the youngest. And one day a casting agent actually came round and said, "Oh, I'm looking to cast Son of Rambo. Do you have anyone?" And I said, "You've got to meet Will." And he always tells the story. He was in a lesson, and I, as a very unprofessional teacher, ran to the window of his maths lesson with a banner saying, "Are you free at 4 for an audition?" He was like, "Why would I'm in a lesson?"
Look, I'm sorry, okay? It was better when it was just us two. Son of Rainbow, take one. Click. Action! I've come to save you, Rambo!
Spent the summer filming that, and then we took the School of Comedy cast at the Edinburgh Festival, and then we got the School of Comedy series. So already he was getting bits and bits under his belt. And then, yes, Narnia was the second audition after that, which he got.
I know you've got plans to expand. You've got 2 new clubs opening in other parts of London. Have you got plans to expand to outside the capital?
Yes, absolutely. We're opening 2 new clubs in January in London, but by the middle of next year, we are hoping to be expanded to Liverpool and Manchester. We've got Beth from the series up in Liverpool, so she's going to open a club there. We've got Ella in Exeter, and we've got others going to different universities and different towns, so we're hoping to be open in lots more cities.